guys, I've been researching because the pagan holiday Beltane, or the spring equinox, is coming up, and it is a Wiccan witch type holiday, a very big one. That would be May 1st, and also Walpurgis Night, which is April 28th. So I just want to show you guys some stuff, and I'm going to read to you. Switch over to the screen, but I'm going to read to you from a website called ThoughtCo, and they start out, you know, their main page on this. They have different religions here. But the main page on the pagan or Wiccan is your getting started page, right? So you have things like recipes, crafts, how to make a book of shadows, how to make a book of shadows, introduction to candle magic, the Sabbath, how to come out of the broom closet, God, intro to paganism, you know, there's ley lines, you know, there's a bunch of stuff here. How to find a coven. How to find a coven. Okay. So, let's learn. Let's find out what they do. One of the reasons I am doing this is because I want to show you guys how they are using the energies and their own frequencies, right? And maybe that can help you guys some if you're feeling some stress at this time of year or during these dates, or even right now, like ramping up towards these dates. Because trust me, these people are getting very excited for their deal that they're going to do here. So I just want you guys to understand that's oftentimes what happens when you know, people as a group start behaving a certain way, or there seems to be a large group vibe. That can be influenced from these rituals. And so I'll read this to you, some things. Now, this is a beginner's website. So this shows you're not into the any blood type rituals, not much yet. But I'll just read this to you and explain as I'll go along. So, Beltane rites and rituals. It's about rich and fertile earth and the land. As the land greens, there are a few celebrations as representative of fertility as Beltane, observed on May 1st. Now in the southern hemisphere, October 31st to November 1st. So that's very odd to me because May Day was always in May, no matter the hemisphere. So, and then the other thing was, this switches them because October 31st to November 21st is actually Samhain, or Halloween. So that means half the hemisphere is observing, this is very strange, half the hemisphere is observing the May Day spring rituals, and half the hemisphere is observing the Halloween rituals. It's not something I ever heard of. It's just, it didn't matter which hemisphere you were in, you celebrated May Day on May 1st, and it was mainly a northern hemisphere thing. So I don't know what that's about. And so then there was, that may be a Mandela, but there definitely is a Mandela with this. And I don't have the source, but I was watching a video and they were talking about, you know, pagan beliefs that some believe that all of the souls that have died in the last year stay on the earth for about a year and then they move on, and that the date that they moved on was the summer solstice. That's on Sagittarius, my Sagittarius. It was summer solstice, because that's the day before my birthday, so I wouldn't forget something like that once I learned it. But now they're saying now, on this reality, all of the souls will ascend or descend during Beltane. So that's changed. I don't know how that means anything at all. Anyway, so the day has a long and scandalous history. Alright, so they have the rituals. They have here the altar. Now, Beltane is a celebration of the union between the horned god. I talked about this, Cernunnos, possibly also the green man. So, the fertility god. And so then also, you've got your altar here. Now, there will also be May Queen for that, who is, of course, the fertility goddess. So I just want to show you, this is a perfect example of one of these holidays of how they draw people in, beginners, and they will mirror, the beginners are mirroring what they do. So that adds to their frequency, and the people that are doing these rituals, the beginners' rituals, don't know, that they're mirroring something much more evil. So it tells you how to set up your altar, tells you some prayers. So let me see here. Yeah, okay, let's look at the prayer. Okay. Alright. Now it sounds, you have to remember that the prayers that the occultists use would be similar, would be an more evil version, or a more evil reflection of the beginner's words that are said here. So, but they are now calling it a Sabbat. Bless, O threefold, true and bountiful, myself, my spouse, my children. Bless everything within my dwelling and in my possession. Bless the kine and crops, the flocks and corn, from Samhain Eve to Beltane Eve. Now, these equinoxes are a big deal to them. With goodly progress and gentle blessing, from sea to sea and every river. Okay. Anyway, you can read it. Let's see here. Taking possession of all to me belonging. So this is a sex ritual. This is an orgy on their end of it. Okay, so then we'll look at, and we looked at the rituals, a little bit of what they say about Cernunnos, because this is pretty interesting. And I did talk about Cernunnos before, and it wasn't something I'd ever heard of on my reality. So anyway, they call him the Green Man, Master of the Hunt. He's the god of fertility and vegetation and all of that. Let's see, god of lust and fertility. So they have an orgy. Also, or connected, or could also be Pan, the Greek Satyr. Not satire, that's different. Satyr. Also can be seen as the god of death and dying. Okay. Where is it? Okay, so that's just some crap there. During the fall, that would be on Halloween, Samhain. Are you looking at my chin? As the vegetation and land go dormant, and in the spring, at Imbolc, I don't know what that sounds maybe familiar, he is resurrected to impregnate the fertile goddess of the land. So this would be a time when they would want to conceive a special child for some special purpose. Okay, So we'll get into more into the ritual a little bit. But this is the beginner's stuff, and I just want you to keep in mind how they use people, deceive people this way to mirror what they're doing and really add to their energy. Really add to their energy. That he's resurrected to impregnate the fertile goddess of the land. This is a relatively new neo-pagan concept. Now, I think this is probably in order that they can put him on the level with Jesus, Cernunnos and the Green Man, or if they're the same one, you know. So he often has a large erect phallus because he's not a he's not a devil, they say. All right. So here is the prayer. Why I say that and what his symbol looks like is because later on they talk about what to do if your kids don't want to see that. So, yep. So anyway, it's the embodiment of masculine energy, fertility, and power. So here's the prayer. I think I probably won't want to say these prayers, but you should just look at them and just imagine. They talk about the deer and rut and the hunter and the lifeblood that spills upon the ground each season. And then it does end with a sacrifice. Okay, so then they recommend some books. So anyway, these two, Cernunnos and the May Queen, or they're like the main couple or whatever, and it's an orgy. So, with a sacrifice. So the May Queen, embodiment of the maiden. So then they go on to say Mother Earth, but then they go to explain how the maiden, you know, she's the maiden up until Halloween, and then she's a freaking old lady like me. So, and then you're the Dark Mother, bearing not a basket of bright flowers, but instead a sickle and a scythe. See how they reverse everything? They're just sick. So there's the prayer to the May Queen. Not much is really said about her, other than that there's the cycle and she's the maiden. So put that, you know, together yourself. So the Beltane bonfire rite, which I believe is the same type of thing that's going on, that they have set Burning Man set up for a Beltane bonfire. Now, this is beginner stuff, but I, you know, had read, books years ago. There were some books on Celtic mythology, and this particular ritual, they would build the Wicker Man or the Burning Man, and they would stuff it with people, living people. You know, they would make them climb all up on top of each other until they filled up that man, and then they would set it on fire. That was their Sabbath. That was their Sabbath. So if you guys feel like it's bad energy, something bad is coming or something bad is ramping up, you know, this is your dominant energy right now. This is where most of your people are focused. Okay, either in the beginner's level here or higher up or mid-level, you know. And trust me, they are getting all excited to get ready for this So they call, it's music and magic and dancing and love making. So anyway, they light a fire and they chase each other around like idiots. Everybody chants and, then joins in. But there will be a sacrifice. There is a worship of the maiden. So virgins, what kind they like. So at the beginner level, the maiden would be a maiden of a proper age, generally. So then there's a lot of advice here, how to either, go all the way or just kind of go a little way, because we need articles to figure out how to do stuff like that. They're just awful. They say, at the part of the prayer, water is my blood, but they mirror what these occultists are doing, just ignorantly doing these ceremonies and adding to this nasty energy that's coming. So just be on your guard, keep the Holy Spirit, pray, So there's the blessing here. There's a lot of indication of rituals in sacrifice or in honor of the evil Trinity, which is the Father, the Mother, and the Child. So this page is a little more, has more prayers. There's some more elaborate prayers here. Let's see here if I looked at that. That's the blessing. Okay. And there's this artifact which I showed you on one of my other videos, which actually I have no idea if that is Cernunnos or who that would be. It may be a fair assumption, but these things are hard to gauge when you don't have very much evidence. If you don't have a lot of these type of images, it can be hard to discern where that's coming from, and they will just seize on these images and make it all fit together. So here's where they say more of the prayer, and it's more into the prayer to the green man. So the god of the green, man of the woods, green man of the woods, brings life to the dawning spring. More about the lifeblood that spills and the sacrifice. Okay, so there's that. I'll put this site's more in depth. I will put this one up and this other one up because how long have I gone? Oh, 20 minutes. Okay. So, Walpurgis Night, traditions and celebrations. In Germany, Walpurgisnacht, night, I know that's English, or Hexennacht, meaning Witches' Night. The night from April 30th is the night when allegedly the witches hold a large celebration, revel with their gods, and await the arrival of spring. So the Beltane fires are lit to celebrate the coming of May. So the bonfire is really hot by May 1st. In Germany, there's also a Christianized version called Easter fires. So I'm not reading these totally out because there just isn't, I'm just going to skim through these articles here because there's a lot of information, but a lot of it's just totally irrelevant to what I'm talking about. But it's just, usually I would pick out an article that has a lot of good information and I would read you the whole thing. But I'm not going to this time. So, it's a part of popular youth culture to go out and play pranks on other people, like messing up somebody's garden, hiding stuff, or spraying messages on other people's property. Sometimes these pranks go too far and may result in serious willful damage to property or bodily injury. So I'm going to skip a whole bunch, but there will be a lot of drinking of wine. There is a nude female statue in Helsinki that they apparently celebrate this around. They still celebrate this. So it goes in, and so that's, even though this is under the Walpurgis Night, it goes into the May Day. I don't know why this article does. It's a day for everything fun and crazy. Children and families gather in marketplaces, okay? So that's May Day. Okay, so you're not going to get a whole lot out of this article, but Walpurgisnacht would be, your night would be, along with New Year's Eve, it says the biggest carnival-style festivity. So you just want to imagine an evil version with kids. Here's the drawing. You got your, everything's terrified. There's some kind of demon and a terrified frog here and witches and, your couple here and it's just, So anyway, I'm riding the goat. Okay, there's your magic circle around the hill. Right. There's your cooking of the human being. Right, the pot. Okay, Abby, hang on. Now this one's riding like a pig. So, and I'm not doing this again to frighten people or scare people. I'm doing this because I see this ramping up of negative emotion before these holidays. I have seen it. I saw it on the previous solstice, where you guys are feeling, pretty stressed out. You know what I'm saying? So let me let my dog out. She needs to go get a drink of water. It's just terrible. I'm so thirsty. She's so thirsty all the time too. So anyway, then the last thing I was just going to show you is the meaning of hex, because of all of the hexagon things. Alright, hex, etymology, 1830, American English from the Pennsylvanian German hexe, to practice witchcraft, from German hexen to hex, related to hexa witch, from Middle High German hexa, I don't know how to pronounce that, from Old High German, a noun meaning, magic spell is first recorded in 1909. Earlier it meant a witch. Okay, so everything's hexed around here, spelled up. So that's what we're talking about here. They're getting ready to really spell it up. So they're not just using language. Alright, that's not the evil part of the spell. The language isn't the evil part of the spell, guys. About 6 minutes here. Maybe I should just run them all together since I didn't read all of that as like I thought I might, but the Beltane of the bonfire, this part of it, I thought I would read you this whole thing, but it's just, you know what, because there are things here like, you know, you can use a proxy, you can have a couple that are already together, or you can use proxies. You know, it's just kind of sick. So, anyway, maybe somebody's at the door. Love you guys. Bless you. Guys, so I got kind of a new setup here. I moved all my furniture around and I made myself like a cockpit with my computer, and also, I'll just show you guys. There, yeah. I can reach everything. There's all my things, my TV, my printers. Yep. So I'm just going to read to you. I've been doing a lot of research today. I might go live tonight. I'm not really sure quite yet. But I'm really happy with my new setup, so I thought I'd show you guys.